If you want more stories, please subscribe. Now, let's dive in.
Author's note, this is the sequel dog story to Think Humans Stopped Being Predators, Watch Their Kids Play. I had been offered a chance to return to Earth. The school I taught galactic history requested me back, not as an adjunct professor, but with tenure. After many discussions with my life mate Iraya, we agreed to move to Earth. Texas A&M must have really wanted me, as their salary offer was far in advance of the standard, in addition to on-campus housing plus moving expenses. I was looking forward to reuniting with my friends, especially Dr. Garrett Madison, professor of canine science. I recall leaving the shelter of our family fortification with sadness, but also excitement. Our wing was empty, yet our hearts full. I'm still nervous, you know, Iraya stated. Earth may be mostly harmless, but it is still a death world. Have you studied Texas? Temperatures that can kill, water storms that can level cities, and as civilized as Earth is, much of it remains wilderness. I had expected this discussion. She had very rarely left municipal fortifications. Us Nsarians also evolved on a death world too. Though unlike the mighty Terrans, we explored only when necessarily and heavily armed. Humans, though, had a strong desire to push ahead no matter the risk. We will be fine, I assured her. The Dean herself has given us permission to fortify our residence. Additionally, the campus is safe, as it is patrolled by security, and violence is almost unheard of. Though we may have a few loud lights during Pledge Week. As I've always said, I would rather have no other people than the Terrans keep watch over us while we sleep. I would have never even suggested this to you had I felt any doubt to our safety. Indeed, I am confident we will find community, I explained. I am still not eating flesh, she stated. Nor will I. It will be no issue. I replied. Some days later, we landed at Houston Spaceport. Garrett was there to greet us. Freya, I'm glad to see you again, he announced, extending his hand. I grabbed his hand with mine and pumped it gently but firmly twice. And you as well, my friend. I am glad to return to your world. But of great importance, I must present my life mate, Iraya, daughter of Willekth, I stated, introducing her. Madam Raya, it is an honor to welcome you to Earth and to the Terran Republic, he stated, bowing slightly to her. Your husband has told me many great things about you, and I am honored to meet you as well. My life mate has mentioned you a number of times. I hope to host you and yours within our private fortifications once we are settled in, she replied. It would be our pleasure. But speaking of slightly, I recall you mentioned your desire to try new salads. I hope you're both hungry, as I have planned a barbecue at my house to celebrate your return. Iraya, we have a number of meat-free options for both of you, Garrett stated. Have you terminated another invasive boar? I asked. Not lately, but something far more special. My grandson hunted his first buck, a solid 11-point buck. I must admit I'm extra proud, as he used a flintlock with iron sights too. Jimmy and his dad will both be there as well, since Jimmy's first deer means his turn cooking for everyone too. He answered. We grabbed our luggage, which was enough to last us a few days until the rest of our belongings arrived, then departed in Garrett's truck. The drive was comfortably familiar to me and exciting for my life mate. She was amazed by how traffic was busy, yet still flowed in the city, and then how quickly it transitioned from urban to rural. Soon enough, we were at Garrett's fortification. Iraya, how do you feel about meeting Rock? He's our dog, he asked. Iraya knew of dogs from my stories, but she was still slightly reluctant to meet a non-sentient predator. I have met him myself, and have no fears. Rock desires friendship, but should you not wish to meet him, it is no issue. I explained. I would like to, but maybe slowly. She answered, No problem. He's probably enjoying a nap right now. Take some time to mingle first, and when you're ready, let me know." Garrett answered as we exited. As we approached his backyard, I was immediately greeted by a number of scents. I could detect lettuce, cucumber, tomato, fig, carrot, vinegar, olive oil, olives, potatoes, flesh, and so much more. As we turned the corner, I was greeted by familiar sights and people. Children running and playing their predator war games, neighbors conversing, co-workers, and in the center of the grounds, his fire pit with the buck being slowly cooked. "Attention everyone!" Garrett announced, raising his voice. "I am pleased to announce the return of Fariah to Earth. Us Aggies are lucky to have him, and more importantly, his lovely wife, Iraya. Our community will be better with them." Everyone stopped to applaud us. I could see the strength in Terran pack bonding, as in this moment I felt myself becoming a part of their pack. We mingled among the assembled guests for a time. I could sense Iraya being slightly nervous from the open fields surrounding the property. "I still don't understand. Do you not feel exposed to your planet's predators like this?" she asked a neighbor. "Not really." The neighbor, Janisha, answered, "I'm no expert on your history by any means, but where I think our history differs is that your race built fortification to keep predators away. We did that too, but eventually, due to our own predatory behavior, we reached a point where almost all other animals, predator or not, fear us. Those that don't fear us, we either domesticated them or we tend to have the means to fight them on us when in their territory. I slightly understand domestication. We did similar with Gurgus on our world, but they were hunted the same as us. You domesticated predators too, correct? Iraya asked. Yes, but Garrett can talk about that better than I can. Garrett, come talk dogs, she announced. Our host, knowing he had been summoned, opened a fresh alcohol beverage and jogged toward us. Someone said dogs? He stated as a joke and greeting. Yes, I am curious how a predator race made another predator submit to them, asked Iraya. Well, that's a lot to unpack, and when you're ready, I'll ask Rock to meet you and help me explain. He started. But to begin, submit is only partially accurate. First, I have to start with wolves. Think dogs, but bigger, more aggressive and tougher, but also fiercely loyal to their families. We competed with them for food. Eventually, some started to approach early humans. We would throw scraps of food to them to appease them. This early bribe gave us space. Wolves that were more sociable to humans were better received. Natural selection ran its course, and later cuter wolves could approach our camps. As time went on, wolves began to join us as we hunted. Their superior initial speed would cause game to run in a direction of our choosing, allowing us to kill them more easily. We shared the meat with them, creating that first bond. Eventually the bond was tight enough we co-slept with them, their fur keeping us warm and us protecting them. We pack bonded together. I'm still confused as to how you could herd bond with a different species. Iraya asked. Understandable. It's a quirk of humanity. We are highly social animals. We actively seek out such pack bonds. With wolves, we favored those that we could identify best with. That means wolves who could, through facial and tail muscles, communicate their emotions best with us. Wolves that looked cuter and embraced us as we embraced them. That is what led to them becoming dogs. As we bred them to better understand us, human tribes that had dogs survived better. We, along with our dogs, passed our genes on, while others did not. We became friends, and we changed each other to become best friends. We pack bonded with each other. To quote old human fiction, Darmok and Jalad on the ocean, dogs weren't tools, but full members of our tribes. When sick or injured, we nursed them to health alongside our own. When we had babies or they puppies, we all protected each other's young. The pack bond was mutual and has been ever since then. We changed each other for the better. It was then I noticed other activity had ceased, so others could pay attention to Garrett. "So you formed an alliance?" I asked. "Much more than that. Human pack bonding goes far beyond a mutual agreement. Humans can be immune to human suffering, yet we are united in our opposition to animal suffering, with dog suffering being paramount. In many court cases, it is seen as normal or close to it to injure another human. But to injure in any way a dog is something far worse. Far, far worse." His voice trailed off. "Mr. Garrett, I think I am ready to meet your rock," Iriah announced. "He is always wanting to make new friends," he answered. Garrett then went into his home and emerged a couple of minutes later. I had seen Rock once before, but even then it was a small shock. Rock on his 4 legs was almost half the height of Garrett. His mostly brown to black fur tended to slightly blend in with the environment. Yet what Iriah and I both noticed was his head. Rock shared the binocular eyes of the humans, yet I could tell they weren't his primary focus. His ears changed directions to take in the sounds of everything. I could sense his tongue and nose taking in the combined scents and tastes of everything. Humans were unlikely predators. Rock, though, was designed to be one. I held Iriah's hand in mine to assure her, and partially myself. "Sit," Garrett ordered, and Rock instantly sat on his rump and hind legs. "Good boy." We both noticed his eyes locking onto us, then his eyebrows raising, then lowering. "He won't attack unless I tell him to. Still too much marine in him. The best way to introduce yourself to him is to hold your hand slightly in front of his nose so he can learn your scent. Then rub his cheeks, like this." We watched as Garrett held his hand. Rock sniffed it, then he gently rubbed the creature's cheeks. I followed suit as I had met him before. When she was ready, Iriah did the same. "What do you mean by too much marine in him?" I asked. Garrett paused for a moment. "I've mentioned this in passing a couple times. I am a retired Master Sergeant from the Terran Marines. More specifically, I was a canine handler. I bonded with Rock a few years away from retiring. This was after the loss of Stone," he answered. "I noticed his life mate Rhonda approach him. It's okay. Not easy, but okay," he stated. "We don't wish to cause you distress," Iriah stated. "Agreed. We can study this from texts later," I added. "Thank you. But for Raya, you are my friend, and Iriah, I hope you will be as well. I want to explain this to you." Garrett replied. "It has been common practice to use dogs in war for thousands and thousands of years. They have better smell, hearing, and we pack bond together. Even in modern times, dogs still go to war with us. Stone, my previous partner, landed on Terrell with me. We landed outside the palace of the Gret High Ruler, and our job was to spot any hidden forces. Stone loved dropping onto a planet. To him, it was a game. Drop, find the enemy, alert us, and get treats and belly rubs. To him, this was another drill. We went into the drop pod, we dropped, landed, and emerged. I had my rifle at the ready, and his senses were at the hunt. In the confusion, the Gret were honestly running around like chickens with their heads cut off. I allowed myself to commit to the worst sin in combat possible. I got comfortable. I never saw the sniper that Stone smelled. The same sniper realized his location was compromised. He shot Stone. I suppose it was fucked up luck that it was a clean kill. I was in shock. Canine handlers are never chosen lightly. Like ancient humans, only those that have a special affinity for pack bonding with a different species make it through the selection process. When Stone was hit, I wish I could say I responded with Terran rage, but instead I froze. Luckily, my teammates didn't hesitate. They ordered an orbital strike from the TRW stick. I've heard there's still a crater where that sniper was. If this is painful, you don't have to continue, I assured him. I appreciate that, I really do. But telling this story helps me heal. It gets easier, but I don't think it will ever be easy, nor do I hope it'll be, he stated. After we took Tyrell, Stone was buried with full honors as is tradition. We were later rotated out. I ended up back here. My job to screen and train junior canine handlers. I pride myself on being able to spot true dog people. To be a canine handler requires a 10-year enlistment. That scares a lot of would-be handlers off immediately. We require 10 years because a handler in training is assigned a puppy assigned to them for the duration of both of them. I had been with Stone as soon as he was weaned. I nursed him through abortive parvo. When he died, it was bad. I had to be dragged off planet. The Terran philosophy was still new to us. It was much later I met Apple, Rock's mum. I was assigned to kennel duty, a simple job that was helping me. When Apple went into labor, I happened to be there. Rock was last and the runt, yet I knew he was sent by the divine for me. I extended my enlistment to partner with him. We were assigned to a boarding team. We were actually on the TWR Chesty Puller when David Riggs rescued those kids. Rock was and is a natural boarder. He had no issues with pressure suits or taking commands over radio. We still practice here and there. That's why I live here in Bryan. The canine school is just in College Station, and old farts like us are valuable, he explained. Experience is always valuable. I chimed in. Without it, my race could never have improved our fortifications or crop yields. Thank you. As we advanced, we learned more about our best friends. They are loyal to us, though I suspect we are more loyal to them. Humans are great at training dogs, but dogs are best at training puppies. So Rock and I spend quite a bit of time at the Canine Training Center. Together we train and screen the next generation of puppies and their companions. We firmly stand at the gates and allow no one in unless we both approve. I may never know if this is just a game to Rock, but we both take it seriously. The pack of all humanity and the Terran Republic depends on us after all.